Today's show is brought to you by StreamTech Drift Boats, the world's most versatile drift boat. Find them at www.streamtechboats.com. I kind of feel bad for these people, but at the same time I don't because they're stupid.
Don't see a circle around yourself, just start pissing everywhere.
Oh, I hate the Dutch.
Welcome to our country. And so
she doesn't really look Canadian. She looks almost American. Just insulted all of Canada.
Oh, every time I see something you gotta... If I'd known that before, I would have just interspaced every other sentence with something horrible.
Well, I haven't felt my feet since I sat down in the chair.
Can you see your feet, though?
No. I'd rather do anything else on the planet than go tip a cow over.
How about Canada? Is there any stream access issues up in Canada?
nobody cares.
Not very much.
Kids, if you don't understand that joke, ask your parents.
Evan, Derek?
Yeah.
Oh, God, here it comes.
Your flies are open.
Thanks.
Grab hold of your flies. This is a podcast for nymphers, strippers, swingers, and dry fly guys. It's the show that brings you stories, instruction, and conservation from three guys who live it every day. This is The Open Fly.
Hi.
Hi. Hello.
Hi.
Are we podcasting?
We are. We've been, what is this, episode 25, and it's taken us this long to figure out that we're podcasting, and casting is a very easy, that's like low-hanging fruit for some kind of fishing pun, and we've never taken it.
I thought about that the other day, and then I decided, I bet we already did that.
No, that's how obvious it is. So
This is our silver show, then?
I think so. I don't know. I don't really pay attention.
25?
I don't know.
Math is hard.
So you're a podcaster. Is there some kind of weird fishing pun that we could turn that into?
Given some time and alcohol, we could probably come up with something.
We have one of those things right now.
I got nothing.
Could you cast a pod?
Could you cast to a pod?
Cast to a pod of fish.
Yeah. I guess it's a school. It's a pod of whales. It's a school of fish. It's a murder of crows.
I don't know. When we talk about salmon coming up the river, we always talk about pods.
Well, yeah. Escape pods. I always think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Cod pieces.
I think about those all the time.
The word association game.
Cod piece. That could go well with an ascot, which I'm wearing today.
Yeah, Kirk is actually wearing an ascot.
NASCAR cod pieces.
We'll have to get a photo of that for the people later.
Yeah.
Where'd you get that ascot? It's really nice. It says fishing on it.
I've long pined for an ascot. Mm-hmm. But was unwilling to go out and spend my own money to get one. So
it's understandable.
At the initial meeting for the Yakima Headwaters chapter of Trout Unlimited, spearheaded by our own Derek Young, the first meeting, I won it in a raffle.
Hey.
It's by Tacky Fly Fishing. Does it look tacky?
No, I think it's
quite nice.
It's very becoming on you.
Yeah. Well, I wore my Hawaiian fish shirt today.
Mm-hmm.
I think tacky is a clever play on words. Since we're having a little bit of a word jenga this morning, it's sticky, a little bit more sticky than not.
Oh, I thought it was tasteless and
no, they're
unsavory.
very tasteful.
Oh,
They have much taste.
Yeah. Oh,
I think so. This show that we're doing right now we didn't have quite the span of time between this one and our last one as we've been having. So, hey, we're on a roll.
I think the call. I did see some feedback from.
Speaking of feedback, did you get that feedback I sent you,
I
Kirk?
did it. It's on my phone.
All right, we'll get to that in a moment.
I don't mean to jump around, but the feedback was about. Why is there a calendar on the wall that says "Jesus,
Focus.
my armpits smell
Focus.
bad"?
Focus.
Why didn't you read the calendar?
Did I forget to wear deodorant today? I smell like onions and butthole.
Yeah,
this is like an eye test too. The
That's
type gets smaller.
That's the calendar having.
Oh, okay. Fuck this. I've got to go home and shower. Oh, awesome.
It's the oatmeal calendar.
Oh,
it's some inspirational looking things where it's like, yay, I did it, and then something underneath it where it's like,
oh, I get it.
They got their arms up and like, wait, my armpits smell terrible. I smell like onions and butthole.
It looks like a female.
Yeah, well, females can smell like onions and butthole too.
You're hanging around the wrong females.
Europeans.
Canadians, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know. Canadians?
No.
Anyway, before we went there, what happened? Or where were we?
I lost my train of thought.
I did too.
You had some feedback about...
The onions in the butthole.
Oh, Derek, you were talking about feedback of some sort.
Oh, yeah. About doing... that it was 3 months between our December show and our January show. And I'm not that good at math. But
yeah,
I know that's not 3 months.
We're doing at least one show a month.
Yeah, it's one show a month.
And we're trying to do more. It's just, for one reason or another, every month that other show ends up getting moved back.
We just can't find interesting content.
Yeah, I think we're trying for quality.
Yeah, honestly, we could do 4 shows a month. It's just the quality of the show is going to go down.
Well, maybe.
The quality of the podcast.
I'm still going to show up and do good things.
I'm not. See, we can find guests.
Kirk is a finite resource.
Yeah, delivering that message, I couldn't be as engaging and jocular as I am.
Yeah, there's a part of we've talked to guides, we've talked to conservationists, we've talked to activists, we've talked to just your Joes in the street. We haven't talked to the fish. Mm-hmm. And talk to the logs in the river. So maybe we'd stick a log in Kirk's chair.
Speaking of previous guests, actually between last show and this show, I got to meet plenty of our past guests at the show, the fly fishing show in Somerset, New Jersey. Mm-hmm. So I got to meet Paul Conklin. It was a couple months ago, the salmon steelhead guide up there in New York.
Yep.
I used quotes around the steelhead. Colin Archer. Colin Archer, average angler from New Jersey.
Could you say that with a little bit more of a Jersey accent, please?
No.
I said please.
No. I said no. And then Jess McLaughlin from our previous show was also there.
Were they all as disappointed to meet you as you were to meet them in person?
Yeah. What's funny, did you mention that? There was a listener at one of the trade shows who's probably listening right now, and the reaction was like, hey, I'd listen to your podcast. I'm a big fan. And we sat and talked for a little bit, and he's like, yeah, I'm kind of surprised that, he's like, I picture you to be a lot different. And I'm like, how? He's like, I don't know, you're just kind of normal. I was like, what'd you expect?
He called you normal?
I was like, have I ever advertised myself as being anything else?
It's that illusion of grandeur. These, the microphone,
the microphone adds
20 pounds of impressive, I don't know. It's awesome. And it's true to some extent. We are kind of a big deal, at least in this room.
I also wasn't drinking coffee flavored whiskey at the show. So,
and I've also found that mirrors add 20 pounds. So I just quit looking in the freaking mirror too.
Yeah. Also, I just actually yesterday booked plane tickets to go fish with a previous guest, Jason Shaw, the tournament angler.
Yeah. That's slot fisherman.
Yep. I told him I'd demand slot fish.
There is not a thing that he does not own a category for in terms of like fishing
or like world records. I think now he holds more world records than any other living person. So I'm gonna go fish with him.
Well, hey,
what's funny is
he has 2 hands.
I'm using my Alaska Air Miles to get down there to fish with him, and I've been shopping tickets on Alaska's website, and they've got flights that go from here to Charleston, but there's a layover in Atlanta, and it turns out that last leg is on Delta. Therefore, they disqualify me from using miles. So this trip I've been planning for months and months and months. They put the kibosh on it, said, nope, you can't use your miles for that because that last leg is on Delta. So my solution to that was using my miles to fly from here to Orlando, renting a rental car, and driving to Charleston to South Carolina from Orlando.
See, this is where
that's a long drive.
This is where you lost me. Word problems like that. You lost me.
It was a word problem. That wasn't a word problem.
Yeah, it was.
They said you can't use your miles if you want to fly to Charleston, but you can use your miles if you fly from Seattle to Orlando.
So then how did you solve that word problem?
I am flying to Orlando and renting a car and driving to Charleston.
There you go.
So that's dedication. That's like a 16 to 18 hour travel day.
Rent a Dodge Challenger SRT.
Actually, I rented a Dodge Challenger last summer when I was in Orlando?
Yeah.
That was the car that I rented.
Did you get the 6-speed manual?
No, they wouldn't let me have that.
See, my buddy, we'll call him Jimmy to protect his identity. Mm-hmm. His daughter goes to University of Georgia, and he was down there last weekend visiting, and at the rental car they had a Ford Taurus for him, and his first thought was, do you have anything else available? And when they suggested the Dodge Challenger SRT with
please.
like 1 million horsepower, he asked, how much of an upgrade is that? And when they said $15 a day before his wife could protest, he said, take it.
I pretty much did the exact same thing, and I drove it like it was a rental car.
Yeah.
Pretty much, when you get in that case, and I rent a lot of cars every year, do a lot of travel. Rental car automatically becomes the fastest car in the world.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's why I'll never buy a used rental car.
So that was fun.
Listen, you guys all hobnob. You're like, I go all over the world.
I'd never have.
Cars.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I rented a minivan in Hawaii. That was awesome.
Sucks.
Yeah, I rented a minivan last time I was in Mexico last year.
It's a bait and switch. We did that for our honeymoon a long time, almost 20 years ago, and we rented a Jeep, online when we got there. And we of course, we got there, it was a Chevy Tracker or some shit like that.
Yeah.
It's like, that is not a Jeep.
No.
And so the locals knew to throw bottles at us and stuff. So we should have a show from somebody on Hawaii. Let's get Coach Duff on the show.
That would be a
I'm
good
down.
show. Yeah.
That would be a good show.
I want to
Go there to record the podcast.
I want to get my buddy Mingo on the show too, because he does a lot of cool stuff over there. He doesn't guide, but he does things that nobody else does.
And he looks like his mouth is like a carp too.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Carp land.
Well, should we move on? How about the feedback segment?
Yeah, I've got. So I have two. I also want to read. This came as a message on our Open Fly podcast page from Tom.
Was it on time or was it prematurely or was
Hi,
it?
Tom.
No, it was. It came in. The original message came on Saturday.
It was timely then.
It was timely. And given the language barrier, I'm going to struggle with this a bit because this is
Canadian?
it's coming from Canada.
We struggle with that.
This is from Tom. I'll skip the last name.
Sorry, Tom.
Sorry.
Writing to you from, quote, Canada, north of Montana. Just wanted to say that I found your show at random. However, after listening to a few shows that were titled as interesting to me, I downloaded them all. Great work! You have a unique way of hitting a lot of very important issues, yet entertaining and funny. Just ordered an All of the Woolly Bugger book and a new Alpha 3 reel from Allen, a company I knew nothing about until hearing about it on your show. So I guess I'm supporting your supporters. Keep up the great work. Looking forward to the next show. And also, don't let up on the Eastern Migratory Rainbow bit.
I think I've already hit that this show already. So yeah, keeping up.
Yeah, and then he's in brackets, fake steelhead. Thanks, Tom.
Hey, Tom, you sound like a swell guy.
Yeah,
Tom gets it.
I replied to him, and I just basically said, you certainly know the proper way to suck up, so thanks for that.
Yeah.
I feel left out. I didn't get anything out of that deal.
No, he didn't book a trip with Emerging Rivers Guide Service.
He did not.
Well, maybe he'll come down here and do that.
The exchange rate is really poor right now, apparently.
That's too bad.
He also adds in a second reply, not trying to suck up, just appreciate your shows. But could you pick up the pace? I've been listening to 3 to 4 shows a day and have caught up on all of them.
That sounds like a you problem.
Yeah, it sounds like you should get a job, man. So
Cool. Thanks, Tom.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Very nice to hear from Tom. We have an email from Russ. And let me scroll back up here. For your feedback pleasure. Oh no, that's what you told me. This is
that was my words, not his.
Yeah.
Oh.
Can you guys explain why fishermen are wearing spandex tube socks on their face?
Also timely.
This is a good show for that.
I can understand not wanting to get a sunburn, but isn't that what a healthy beard and wrinkled, ruddy skin made of leather is for?
Yes.
Who is this, Hannibal Lecter?
This is Russ.
Oh.
So,
with a nice Chianti?
Yeah. I think he's referring to the ascot.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, I actually have covered on my blog the matter of river ascots, a.k.a. buffs, and
quite thoroughly.
Yeah.
As well. You were very thorough.
I had a little free time on my hands, apparently. At first when buffs came out, I thought, what are these ridiculous contraptions? I'll never be seen wearing one. And look at me here today. I'm wearing one just as business casual.
Never say no.
Yeah.
Because I thought the same thing. I was like, what?
Yeah, they're one of those things that it's a don't knock it till you've tried it kind of thing. And now if I'm fishing in the sun, I feel really out of place without it.
Naked almost?
Yeah. Well, I can feel my face sunburning.
I actually wear it in place of shorts during the summer.
Just on one leg.
No, I'm pretty svelte through the
You are
hips.
svelte.
So I actually get it around.
Almost girlish.
Almost. Well, blushing.
I think
But
that's a
they
compliment.
breathe. Well, it's like having a really tight little mini skirt, so you get a lot of air moving.
That would be a good ad for tacky. Just a buff over
Over the junk.
smallish waisted
Narrow
person.
hip.
Narrow hip.
Maybe when the weather warms up, I'll pose for that.
Don't do
photo.
that in Montana. Apparently, it's going to be illegal to wear yoga pants in Montana.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Did you hear
While
about,
fishing on Sundays?
Did you hear about this?
That's seriously going to be a thing?
It died in the House, but this Republican out of Missoula
There'll be a mass exodus out of Montana.
got a bunch of complaints from some local Missoulians about there was some sort of bike ride that they did through town, and people did it in the nude. So people were offended, of course, by that. So he
Oh no, naked people.
So he
to Fremont.
Yeah, he introduced this legislation that would essentially say that nipples. Can I say nipples on the radio? Female nipples. Can I say female nipples?
Yeah.
All right.
Boobs.
Female nipples apparently are so offensive to Missoulians that even a beige-colored skin suit would be approximating the the location of perhaps said nipples, including tight-fitting clothing around the buttocks and the genitalia. So Missoula was targeted for no yoga pants. They were going to be illegal. He says, and I quote, well, I can't quote because I don't have exact, besides yoga pants should be illegal anyways.
I disagree with that assessment.
Me too.
But here's a puzzling thing.
Show
to me.
you and a buff on one leg and then see what's illegal.
There you go. We'll push that envelope.
It's all just a matter of, what do you call that thing where you're looking at things from different angles?
Perspective.
There you go.
So I thought Missoula was kind of like the liberal hub of Montana. Shouldn't it be a little more progressive than that?
Apparently, yeah. And I sent my daughter to school there with a whole duffel bag full of yoga pants, so I don't know if I have to bail her out of jail or what. We'll have to see what happens.
Yeah.
That sounds like a revenge bill.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking
Well-
of revenge bills.
Well, hey, good they shut that one down because, spandex, yoga pants, whatnot. I do agree that it's a right and not a privilege. So you shouldn't be wearing that stuff just because you can. You should wear it because you should be wearing it.
because you deserve it.
Yeah, you've worked hard.
It's that whole, uniformy kind of a thing. If you're wearing the clothes of the activity that you're going to do you do the activity or are you simply posing?
Well,
Yeah, how many of them actually do yoga?
I'm wearing yoga pants right now, and I did not just come from a class.
I did
can
some
tell
hot
you that.
yoga earlier today.
Did you?
Yeah. In the shower.
Excellent. This is.
Hot naked.
Can we quack that out?
Hot naked yoga.
I got a visual that needs to be
Yeah.
squelched.
Well, I think. All right. This is the tangent show.
Can we talk about CrossFit instead?
Yes, let's. I didn't know if you guys knew this, but I do CrossFit.
Do you do CrossFit? Are you also vegan?
No.
Gluten free?
Sometimes. Not right now.
Does it make you?
I'm drinking rye whiskey.
Does it give you IBS or something like that? Or
No, actually, I've got no problem with gluten. Wheat specifically messes me up.
well, then yeah, me too.
Really?
Yeah,
You want to talk about it?
No.
Okay.
Why don't we talk about it?
I'm gluten tolerant.
Are you?
Yeah,
you're lucky.
No, I'm gluten tolerant. I'm just wheat intolerant.
I'm wheat tolerant
I'm
too.
wheat intolerant.
I'm intolerant of a lot of things,
Speaking
but
of-
food isn't one of them.
Speaking of IBS, did you see the smoking pork I got out in the driveway?
Yeah, I pulled up and I was like,
Yeah.
God
It's
damn,
mesquite
it smells
smoke.
like hot pig in here.
Yeah.
Not onions and butthole.
No. That would be terrible.
That would be terrible.
Well, let's move on.
Yeah.
So all three of us are going to be at that fly fishing show in Linwood this weekend, aren't we?
Yup.
You guys, the two you guys, actually, all three of us were supposed to be on it, but since I'm flying solo in the Allen booth, I can't. But there's a panel you guys are speaking to,
I know nothing really about it. The
You're just gonna show up
information
and-
has been very non-forthcoming.
Yeah.
so you're just going to show up and
I don't even know what room it is, or I think it's at 3 p.m. I don't even know what day
3
or
p.m.
what room.
It's 3 p.m. either
Yeah, the
Saturday
day
or Sunday.
wasn't clarified. I'm going to be there Saturday, and if it's on Sunday, I'm missing it. So
I'll stand in for it. Can we get like a cardboard cutout of Kirk?
Well, we got that.
Yeah, that's
Well-
me though.
You just take a cardboard cut out of yourself.
That would be awesome. Just stick it up there on the table and be like, well, that's as good as you're going to get.
Yeah.
It's as good as you're going to get.
Well, we got that. We need to get a cardboard cutout of Kirk now.
You can find any 12-year-old child to be a stunt double for me.
Does it bother you that I've just kept this poster of you hanging up in my office for the last year?
Depends on what you're doing with it.
I don't know.
It's a good
It's
photo.
relatively clean.
Yeah,
It's a
I
good
don't see any
photo.
sort of smoke on it or anything. I mean, it's...
Yeah, it's fine.
I could lose a few,
So,
apparently.
yeah, moving on then. Well, anyway, Linwood, Washington, we're all going to be there this weekend at the fly fishing show.
I'll be at the Stream Tech Boats booth.
And I'll be at Allen.
We're going to be sitting
Kirk's going to be at home, probably, for the most part.
Excuse me, I'm coming up for about an hour,
Yeah.
and then I'm out of there.
You're going to pay $15 for an hour?
I'm not paying. They're going to get me in for sitting on that panel.
There you go.
You know, I want attaché, I want attendance, I want a limo service.
Clear the room. Here comes Sir Werner with his ascot.
Well,
Are you going to wear the ascot?
around my hips, and I will clear a path.
That's worth your $15 admission for anybody
Yeah.
right there.
Right, yeah.
Do it.
So, also, Derek's been launching his new Trout Unlimited chapter for the Upper Yakima.
Yeah, it's
and you guys
going
did a cleanup.
freaking
And
awesome.
Due to the generous donations of Open Fly Podcast listeners,
Yes.
the Open Fly Podcast is donating $500 to the cause.
Yes, and thank you very much for that, for everybody donating that. That's certainly a worthy conservation activity.
And we're going to open it up to donations again here soon. I took it off the website temporarily while I figure out the taxes, but it's gonna go back up so you guys can continue giving, and so that way we can support things like Derek's Trout Unlimited, river cleanups, and all that.
Yeah, Sir Kirk was there as well. He showed up with his truck and his boat, and he got some garbage that was deemed worthy enough for his boat, which which was nice.
I drew the line at sharp metal objects. They don't pair well with an inflatable.
Not a bad idea. Not a bad
Yeah.
idea.
So how'd the river cleanup go?
Oh, dude, we filled up a bin of garbage, and we had overflow.
So it's one of those things like, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I know. Seriously, I was conflicted about it because
Like, yeah, we did it, and then it's like, oh, but there was a whole bunch of shit in the river.
Yeah, I got 20 people showed up, and we gave them garbage bags and vinyl gloves and said, go out and see what you can find.
Go
And
do
then
things.
coming back to the parking lot where we had the bin, I was a little embarrassed.
Yeah,
That that I've been working on this river for the longest time, and
the couple times I floated up there, I don't recall seeing that kind of trash. That's just the weird thing.
Pockets.
When you go looking for it, it's there. But if
Yeah.
you're just kind of out for a float,
yep.
Well, yeah, that's the good point. We at one point were floating through and we saw a styrofoam cooler on the shore. So pulled over, anchored up, jumped out to get the cooler, and as you break over the rise of the shore, you could see back into the trees. And then it was like, holy hell. Mm-hmm. Pandora's box full of shit back in the woods.
all right. Well, you're doing good work, and the Open Fly Podcast supports it financially and morally,
Thank you, everyone, for your support.
but mostly morally.
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Anyway, do we want to talk about these legislation things, or do we want to get to our guest?
I think. Well, I mean,
We got time.
We got time.
Yeah.
It's
Correct.
so there's
Derek knows more than we do.
There's a couple of things happening up here in Washington that are mirroring what's happening across the country.
Yeah, we just got hit with a whole bunch of them, like, all at once.
Yeah, we just got dumped on a bunch of things. So here's my in general thought. So right now we have legislators who are writing bills to take the role of government out of their responsibility of managing our natural resources. Mm-hmm. Some of that is, selling off of federal public lands to states. Some of that is selling or taking funding away from organizations that hold our government organizations responsible for doing their jobs. Mm-hmm. There's a Senate bill called 5551, which has been sort of, Wild Steelhead Coalition came up with this, but it's been termed the revenge bill, and essentially says it's essentially targeted at the Wild Fish Conservancy, who took a legal tack at holding WDFW accountable for their HGMP, which is a hatchery genetic management plan, if I remember that correctly. Essentially saying that, so WDFW had to submit a plan to NOAA that said our hatchery operations will not have an adverse effect on wild fish recovery. And if you went to the hearing in Olympia, I guess last year it was, and heard NOAA say directly, there's not very much that you can present to us that's going to prove that a hatchery operation doesn't have an adverse impact on wild fish recovery, no matter what you do. Yeah. That's what I heard out of that discussion. So, and basically, I think some of the organizations walked away from that meeting with their tails between their legs, saying, all right, well, we just finally got spanked for not following the law for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
So the fact that that WFC had to take a legal approach to solving this problem, holding the government accountable for doing their jobs. To some people say that it divided the fishing community because it took opportunity for angling away. I don't know.
Or the way they see it.
The way they see it.
Yeah.
Others see it as a way. It's taking medicine right now. It's that unpleasant step you got to take for future abundance.
Right.
Yeah. And that's the thing people don't want. They don't want to give up a year or two to let things get set right. They want it now.
Right.
There's no I in team, damn it.
No, it is. It's in the a-hole.
It's in the a-hole. Yeah. No onions. Hold the onions.
Write the word team in caps, and you'll see what we mean.
Yes.
Hold the onions. So this bill was proposed by Senator Kirk Pearson out of Monroe, just up the road here from the podcast studio.
Is that Kurt Pearson?
Kirk.
Oh.
Kirk Pearson.
You guys are related.
Yeah. And some other sponsors. But essentially, and I'll just read kind of the wording of this. Hold on here just a second.
We got time.
So SB 5551, introduced by Senator Kirk Pearson of Monroe, would deny state salmon recovery funding board contributions for any project or activity if the good one.
That wasn't me.
If the project sponsor has brought any legal action against the state before a court or administrative tribunal relating to fish hatchery facility operations within 10 calendar years. So basically, the government is saying...
Explain it like I'm 5.
Okay. Basically, the government is saying that if you hold us accountable for doing the jobs that you elected us to do, we're going to punish you with a legislation that says you won't receive any state grant funding for the work that you're doing to protect
That's
fish.
mature.
That's pretty... I'm taking my ball and I'm going home.
Yeah. Don't let the government be accountable for what they're supposed to do.
That's not our job.
Your salaries don't come from our tax dollars. You don't work for us.
We've been paid by much richer people than you to do something else.
Yeah.
Is essentially what that's saying.
So look at 5551. You can just Google it. You can go to wildsteelheadcoalition.org. It's right there on their front page. The other one is House Bill 1162, which is the suction dredge mining.
Yeah, we did a show on that.
We had
Fish Not Gold.
We've had Fish Not Gold here. There you go.
Hey,
there we go.
Get some help for that.
This is another one of those things where the state has some regulation around the activity of suction dredging or mining in ESA-listed streams.
Yep.
And so the challenge with that is that you have people going up into the mountains and these spawning tributaries at all times of the year. And there are some restrictions, limitations to this, but essentially, using a giant vacuum and sucking up the bottom of the riverbeds where the fish need the gravel for spawning, and we're spending our tax dollars to to maintain and protect those places, and dredgers can come in and just suck it all up.
Conflict of interest.
So
I'm sorry, I thought this was America.
It is America.
It was.
But I'm an American. Last time I looked, not a Canadian.
You could
probably pull it
off.
Absolutely. Oh, totally.
I've been there a couple of times.
You kind of have the Chad Kroger Nickelback look going on.
Don't even say that to me. I'll punch you right. I'll punch you in your CrossFit right now. Let's go, onions and assholes.
Nickelback.
This is just another example of ridiculousness.
Yeah, it's where is the common sense?
Yeah, the official government? Open Flag podcast take on this. It's bullshit.
Yeah,
common sense is being bought and sold at the government level by lobbyists.
And no matter where you stand on the political spectrum, you should not be down with that.
We should maybe get Fish Not Gold to phone in for a quick update here. Coming up.
That's not a bad idea.
Sure. Yeah, Kim and Kent could probably fill a 15-minute slot on the phone.
Yeah,
totally.
Think of anything that you hold dear, whether it's your kid's soccer field or the fresh food section at your grocery store.
And someone's taking a big old dump on it.
Yeah. Imagine someone going into the fresh food section of your local grocery store and spraying
fecal matter
on it. Be like, sure, just go ahead and just take it home and wash it off. It'll be fine. You would not shop there anymore.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. If someone came into your kid's soccer field and put up a swimming pool, you'd say something about it.
It's kind of hard to play soccer on that.
You're exactly right, and I guess I just...
And water polo wouldn't really work after the first couple horses drown.
Well, I don't know. Water polo and soccer are very, very closely related to each other, except you're in water.
Yeah.
For one.
Well, if you play soccer in the Northwest, you're in water a lot, too.
It's true. Yeah, the Northwest, they're one and the same.
God, we could use some snow, huh?
Seriously.
No doubt. Although I gotta say, watch for the ski and snowboard sales here in the next few weeks. They're going to be clearing that crap out.
Yeah, our snowpack situation this year is dumb.
Yeah,
really dumb.
Our reservoirs have a good amount of water in them, because they trap the runoff. But
come August, everything's going to be
bone dry.
Yeah, a trickle.
It's a question that the chapter is asking is when you have your reservoirs up in the the headwaters that typically have a layer of ice on them. That refrigerates the water in those reservoirs. So by the time you get to July and August, when you need water temperatures between 55, 60 degrees for the trout for survival, how much warmer is that water going to be starting out coming out of the reservoirs?
Right.
And will even just 2 or 3 degrees of water temperature in August have an adverse effect on the fishery? Do we need to start looking ahead at maybe we're not fishing through the middle of the day anymore?
Right. There might have to be volunteer closures,
maybe, yeah.
And then you look back on the East Coast, New England, they're just getting hammered.
Yeah.
So why
have
can't
some of that?
Mother Nature just split the difference? Just balance.
Yeah.
Equilibrium, damn it.
Like, I don't want it in my backyard, but put some of that snow up in the mountains.
Yeah. But, I mean, I don't want to dismiss this, but this is not that unusual. 8 years ago, we had a very similar winter, an El Nino system.
I mean, it's not out of the ordinary. It sucks, and it's going to be a weird summer. It's going to be pretty dry. It might be a little more fiery, although last year was pretty fiery.
Yeah.
Like record-breaking fiery. But
then,
we'll have to get Jess McLaughlin, the fire girl, out here to
take some pictures of things burning.
Yeah. It's kind of her thing.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to a short lawn mowing season.
My grass has been green. It has not been
My grass is still
all.
growing, but it's too wet to mow.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
My lawn, you look out there, it needs a bad haircut.
It's like, what's that green stuff that grows in the oceans from the flora?
Kelp?
Yeah. I've got a front lawn full of kelp.
How about we switch gears and get to our guest?
Might as well.
Are we still on the air?
Yeah.
Anyway, so for legislation that's affecting both access and ownership of public lands, as well as what happens on those public lands, make sure that you are doing the research where you live. Washington is facing some pretty big threats right now, and people are down in. By the time you listen to this, people are in Olympia in boots and waders and silly-looking fishing hats, telling our
ascots,
telling our legislators, let's have some common sense here when it comes to our access and what's happening in our streams, because we're already paying money to protect these things. Let's keep them in our public hands.
Yep.
So,
yes,
that's right. Keep government in control.
Today's guest.
Oh, yes.
Let's get to our guest.
Yeah, today
are we not taking a break?
We will.
When?
When we get to it.
Okay.
Just chill. Today's guest is Rob Kramarz from Chaos Theory Charters in the Florida Keys. Can't remember which key he's on exactly, but
there's a bunch of them.
There is. I think it's Marathon, Big Pine, one of those. But we'll let him talk about it.
Is that a cross?
So
joke?
that is why you see Kirk over here. Kirk, hold it up to the microphone. Yep. Wearing his facial guard and his
ascot, please.
His Hawaiian style shirt and shorts. So Kirk is appropriately dressed.
The black socks are a little
Kirk,
odd.
I just noticed you and I have the same shoes.
I noticed that last time I was here.
Are those barrels?
No,
these
are
Tevas. Anyway, so Kirk is appropriately dressed for the occasion. But yeah, Rob guides for Permit, which is his main passion.
Does he have a permit?
He does.
For guiding?
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
That was pretty weak, wasn't
Yep.
it?
Yeah.
Can you edit that part out?
Yeah, quack.
Pretend that he cut and just edit it out.
Yeah, so Permit, bonefish, barracuda, tarpon. It's all kind of his deal. If it's out on the flats there, he's into it.
Cuba?
We'll find out about that.
No, barracuda.
Oh, you said barracuda.
Yeah. And given requests from previous feedback, people have been wanting more duck quacks. I think there's potential to set a new record on this show. If anybody knows anything about the intensity and passion of tarpon guides, knows that that's not a surprise.
Sweet.
I'm looking forward to it. You should have already heard a few quacks at this point. I mean, I've said onions and butthole enough times that maybe perhaps those would be quacked out.
Onions aren't that offensive.
How about just a good old-fashioned fuck?
Everybody has a butthole. Not everybody likes onions.
Whoa. Let's talk about this.
No, let's not. Let's talk to Rob.
Okay.
We'll ask Rob how he feels about onions.
Let's take a short break.
Let's
drink a little whiskey and coffee and come back.
Why did you look at me when you said short? break.
That we've told that joke how many times now?
Yeah, but we have a new listener this week. Every week we get a new listener.
And we'd like to welcome that listener.
It's so good. Why would I not keep using that joke?
Low-hanging fruit.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you are wearing shorts.
Why'd you look at me? Why'd you look at me when you said low hanging?
I'm wearing a buffer on my hips, so the fruit is hanging low.
All right. We'll be right back.
This is Derek, and on behalf of Stream Tech Boats, I want to talk to you about 3 factors that I consider really important when you're choosing a drift boat, and that's safety, fun, and performance. These are the safest drift boats around to float out of. They're fun to row, and from a performance standpoint, if you're a professional on the water, all 3 of these factors are important. So let's take a second to hear from the man who designed the boat himself.
I tried pretty much everything, that just none of them were really doing what I wanted. So we set out to design a boat. I'd call it the one boat that would maneuver like the hard boats, that would go in the really rough places, that would float high, that would have all the amenities that come on a hard boat with anchor systems and good leaning, a very nice flat floor that you can inflate hard, that you can stand on, no bolts, no nuts, no pins, no clips, nothing to put it together. For the reasons that it's so good for fishing, it got this rocker, and so it pivots quickly, and it slides out on the foam pile when you come off big drops. That rocker just climbs right out on the foam pile. A total game changer.
So there you have it. My recommendation, links, words. Look for us at www.streamtechboats.com. Call Link directly. He'll answer that phone, and he'll get you on your way towards the best drift boat on the market.
Now back to the open fly.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome back. We had a good break. Hope you had a good break.
Yeah.
I thought I liked the breaks better than actually being on the air, but I think I like being on the air better than the breaks.
Whoa.
Hey.
Speaking of breaks.
Yeah, we got a little breeze in here.
Offshore gust. Who did he win today?
Yeah, our guest, I think for the first time ever in 25 shows, is actually fishing while he's talking to us.
That's awesome. So let's talk to Rob Kramarz with Chaos Theory down in the Keys. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
What do you guys...
Appreciate the call. Glad to help out any way I can.
Well, it's not so much that you're helping. We like to think that we're helping you along.
Yeah.
We're gonna really launch your career.
I can use that.
Yeah.
I can use.
What are you guys targeting today?
Right now, we're trying to target warm water. We've had cold front come through and pretty much knocked everything out.
Oh.
Hit a couple of spots earlier this morning and to no avail. We ran over some big tarpon, but I was not expecting them to be where I was heading. And, it's this time of year for us, it's tough to do, based on fronts coming through.
Oh.
I mean, it's cold right now, and you guys will laugh your asses off, but it's north wind blowing about 10 to 12 right now, which isn't bad. But, it's 74 degrees. At 10 o'clock,
that's brisk.
Laid up, facing away. But, this time of year, if we get good weather, go ahead, drop that. Good, keep moving.
Man, the damn line.
We try to, everybody wants to catch the bonefish and the tarpon and the permit, but, when the water temps drop to 63, like they are now, it's kind of tough. You got to wait for warm-up water, which we're pretty much doing right now.
Huh.
And, it's kudas and sharks and jacks. And, hey, if it does warm up, yeah, you do have the shot at the Grand Slam.
Yeah.
But it's, very spotty at best, especially the month of February. March, it gets more constant, and the water temps are up a little bit more to where you can go. And, I'm a permit junkie. If tarpon didn't migrate through, I would never fish one. I'm straight up permit. But that's a whole nother show.
Yeah, could be. So it's kind of a neat comparison because us guys that are river guys, our rivers blow out, and that's kind of our time where we just throw in the towel and don't worry about it or work extra hard to find fish. And think of saltwater places like where you are as being more constant. Like as long as it's not too windy, you're fine. But it's kind of interesting to hear that there are ways that it can quote unquote blow out on you.
Well, when we get really bad cold fronts, I mean, about 5 years ago, we had a really bad one come through, killed off a lot of fish.
It got down to like 60?
No, it got down to, I think the lows at that time were in the upper 40s, but the water temp dropped to 50.
Oh, snap.
You know, and
I feel like when I lived in Orlando, Florida for a while, and I remember scraping ice off my windshield there almost more times than I do here. It can get pretty cold down there.
That's gonna do the same thing the rest of the week. So I figure might as well get out on the days we can. And you know, hey, any fish, any of the big three is a special day with these kind of conditions.
Yeah, big three being bones, tarpon, and permit.
Yes.
Right on.
Yeah,
And
right now, I just came through a bunch of mud. I figured redfish would be in there. It was all mullet and nothing else. So
you got a mullet?
of course, that joke. That's low-hanging fruit. If
Derek's got a mullet.
I have the mullet.
Yeah.
So I got a question for you, Rob. You mentioned that there was a big fish kill-off when the temperatures dropped. Does that, when the weather gets cold like that, do the water temperatures drop so rapidly that those fish can't make a preemptive move to warmer water, or do they just not move? They just stay in their local haunts?
No. It definitely came in quicker than the fish expected. I mean, it was almost, the temperature dropped almost 7 degrees overnight, which is unheard of. It just happened so fast, and the fish got caught, way up in the trees.
Yeah, okay.
Most of it was up in the Everglades area and Isla Morada, so on and so forth. And it's actually making a rebound. There have been some really nice bones caught up in the Isla Morada area and the Everglades and the park and everything else. But I've been starting to see a lot more bonefish down my way. Now I'm down just below Big Pine, so I'm closer to Cuba than I am Miami.
Speaking of Cuba, things are changing down there. Is that going to entice you and draw you to those waters?
It's not going to entice me one bit because I know the fisheries that are here. I mean, granted, theirs is untouched, and everybody's going to want to go there.
Yeah.
And they're going to overpressure it. And, overpressuring fish, you guys know how that works.
Yeah.
I know nothing about that.
Try fishing behind someone down a river. Have fun.
Right.
What's it like to be low hold on the flats when you're out fishing in the salt? Is it the same kind of equivalent to being, low hold on a river?
Like intercepting a school you're waiting to come by kind of deal?
We as guides have a unwritten set of rules to where, if someone's on a flat and they're pulling down the flag, you don't jump in front of them. You take second fiddle. And it's not as bad as it is being on the river, but it doesn't help. You always want to hit pristine water first thing. But where I'm located, hey, if someone's on one flat, I'll just go to the next one. It's not a big deal to me. I mean, a lot of guys get upset because, you're on my flat. Really? Well, until you show me the paperwork on that, I'm pretty sure you don't own it. Mm-hmm. And we very rarely get into any kind of confrontation. It might be a local or someone who doesn't know the area, and we're courteous enough to go over and just try to explain it to them. This is the way the fishery works here. Mm-hmm. And, you get into squabbles with people, and I just sit down and leave. I'm not going to talk to stupid.
There you go.
You start talking to stupid people, you're just as stupid. So
we're going to quote you on that one.
That's some good advice.
That is good advice.
Yeah.
My only experience fishing for bones and permit and tarpon was down in Belize, and one of the things that I thought was the coolest part about doing that was you're in these mangroves and you're in these little canals in the boat, and you're going through, and all of a sudden it just opens right up and you've got your own water. Is that what it's like there in the Keys as well, or is it a different environment?
It's a totally different ecosystem.
Okay.
Most of our bonefish and permit, we're fishing flats, and vast flats. But there's small little creeks that run up them that fish use as highways, and they bump up onto the flat, and then they drop back off into the channels. And it's more visual fishing than it is there. With tarpon and baby tarpon and things like that, yes, it is super visual if they're rolling. But if they aren't rolling in Belize, you guys will blind cast. Well, here, we're still looking for them. Hey, they might be subsurface. They might be hanging on the bottom, but you can see them. You know, we aren't stuck up in the trees to where we're trying to cast under them. That is a rarity down with us. You know, we look for the fish that are actively feeding out on the flat, you know, and you try to put your best cast forward, basically. I mean, they have a great fishery, don't get me wrong, but to me, personally, that's like Pee Wee League, and fishing down in the Keys is like the World Series.
Yeah.
You know, you have to be on an A game just to even get an opportunity at putting the fly in the right spot.
But probably leads to the infamous intensity of the tarpon guides. You know, everybody kind of knows tarpon guides for. It's to make, just trying to get the client on their A game. You've just squelched the future of Belize and Cuba fishing. They're all coming to see you in Florida, Rob.
That's all I want. I just want one opportunity. Yeah. Just give me one opportunity to fish, you guys. And, everybody says it about tarpon guides. Well, if you're a permit guide like me, take tarpon guides and multiply it by 10. That's how intense we are. I mean, I'm one of the most vocal and honest guides. If you shit the bed on a cast, sorry. I mean, I'm not that derogatory, but, okay, you missed that one by 3 feet, and that's it. It's a game of inches, especially with a permit. And 9 times out of 10, damn things aren't going to eat. So you have to put that cast in, and the way I fish them is you either spook him or he eats. Those are the only two things that are ever going to come about.
I like it.
And if you get too close to them, fine. Hey, at least I know you saw the fish. I know you put the cast where it needed to be. It was just a little too close.
Yeah.
And now it's fine-tuning.
I like a more gentle coddling instructor.
It's okay, Kirk. You'll do better next time.
Yeah. Can you build me up a little bit between blown casts?
I'll put it this way: the only time I'll cuddle you is after we release one.
I didn't say cuddle; I said coddle. I don't need. Yeah. I don't need any hugging.
Yeah.
I have had Kirk on my boat as a paying client before. Trust me, the tips don't get me better if you cuddle with him. It's not part of the deal.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Pick more left.
So who's the boat? Yeah, who's the typical? Busy. Who's a typical client that comes out with you? I mean, what kind of guy do you want on your boat? Or gal?
My typical clientele are starting. As I started out, it was word of mouth from some people, and internet, everything else, and you kind of get your. I'd like to try saltwater fly fishing, and I was fine with that because I was new as well, and we both were learning at the same time. Now my clientele are more, have a lot more capability to spot fish. That's the toughest part for me, is to direct someone into a fish. You come down and book one day, you have 8 to 10 hours, depending on, how many fish are around, to actually understand and see the fish, where his head is, what he's doing, then manipulate everything into a cast. So my customers are starting to get a little bit better, which I enjoy, because we can take that time. I don't have to say 10 o'clock, 2 more feet, 2 more feet, 2 more feet, 2 more feet. They see the fish. I'm like, right now. The guy I'm fishing today, he just picked up a fish on his own, and he's just making the right cast. Mm-hmm. It's comfortable. And to have him, I've fished some bigger fish, Ted, 11 o'clock. Sorry, guys. This is a nice cuda. Sitting right on the edge of the color change.
Oh, this is awesome. It's like I'm right there.
This is
straight off the nose. But, it's a good cast. Get it moving.
Here we go.
You heard it. Here he comes.
Wait for it. Set. Set.
Don't trap
it up and fire again.
Don't trap set it.
No, he's not going to drop it. But I like taking beginners out. I really do.
Did he shit the bed? Did he lose the fish?
Yeah. I mean, it's tough. It's tough, man.
Cudas look pretty fun. Are they as fun as they look?
One of the most underrated species on the flat.
Nice.
That is
most underrated
history right there.
How could you underrate a fish like that? They're impressive just to look at them.
Yeah.
We'll get into the conservation aspect. We're actually trying to protect the kudas because there's commercial fishermen that are using them as bycatch and killing thousands of them. Anywhere between 50 to 250 a trip, and they're getting, a buck a pound for them.
Wow.
And,
is that the petition you posted the other day?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was looking into that a little bit. I was kind of wondering what the story was behind it.
Yeah, we have, there's a lot of grassroots things that happen down in the Keys. And the biggest one for us is Project Permit with Costa and the Bonefish and Tarpon Trust. But, like, this time of year, we as guides, we have the colder weather come in and all the kudas come onto the flats. Well, we've been seeing a decline in it, and now we've figured out why there's such a decline. And I'm not trying to point fingers at the commercial fishermen. I know they got to make a living, so on and so forth. I get that. And so do I. But that is my living come February and March. And if they keep killing them, we aren't going to have that fishery. So now we're going to have to find another fishery. So we're trying to nip that in the bud prior to an extinction, basically.
Well, in 10 years, you'll be a mullet guide.
Yeah, exactly. And be looking for mullet with 25 other fishing guys.
Yeah, if he has any hair by then.
So
you are on freaking fire today, Kurt.
It's the ascot.
It's the ascot. It makes you smarter.
Yeah. So what's the atmosphere as far as the commercial fishermen and how they look at the current status of the barracuda? Do they care that they're potentially wiping out the population?
Yes. Yes, they do.
Okay.
They definitely. I mean, we brought it to their attention, and they are very receptive, which is nice because you can get into other pissing battles with other kinds of fisheries. They don't really give a rat's ass.
Yeah.
These guys understand. Hey, we don't go out onto wherever those guys fish and go ass rape fish all day long. They understand, and it's nice to have that kind of group effort to go and actually do something together. The permit fishery, we're trying to do as much research as possible, which the state is asking us to do, so that we can make the permit a catch and release species only. Now,
are there people keeping them?
Absolutely. And they're a delicious fish. Hey, I'm all for it. I'm all for eating fish. I won't kill a permit though. I'll eat something else. But there's a lot of people that come in and just go to the wrecks and just pound the hell out of them. They go get their two, come in, go out, get their two, go out again, go get their two, and they're leaving with a freaking 35-quart cooler of fillets.
Ooh.
Whether they're breeding fish or juvenile fish or whatever, it could be a little bit of everything. We've tried to talk to them about it, and talking to the recreational fishermen is harder than talking to the commercial guys down here. Oh, he just had one eat.
Nice.
The cuda?
Yeah, missed them, but that's all right.
We haven't had a fish get caught on the show yet, so we're trying to break some ground here.
So, Rob,
the funny thing it is, I'm not going to be able to put the phone down to release it, so he's going to have to do that all on his own.
Hey, with a cuda, what could possibly go wrong?
Just reach into its mouth and slip the hook out, right?
Take your gloves off and do it. So, who are the conservation organizations down there that are kind of leading the way and helping these causes?
With the permit, it's Bonefish and Tarpon Trust.
Okay.
One of the big companies. There's kudas. It's more being brought up by the Lower Keys Guides Association. We've had a lot of issues with tarpon season and jet skis running over the migratory path of these tarpon every single day. So we've come up with a solution with them as a guides association only. We never got lawyers involved. Nothing else got involved. Hey, if we can draw you a path, would you take that path? And they accept it. We're just trying to make everybody happy. hell, I mean, when guys are paying $600 a day to catch a tarpon, and all of a sudden, here comes Johnny Jet Ski. Oh shit! It blows right by you.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for ruining my line of fish. The CUDA situation is through the Lower Keys Guys Association, and we're very adaptable and pronounced to talk with other organizations. As guides, we have a lot of different clientele that if we need to bring out big gun lawyers, we will. We try not to. It's a friendly thing. Let's get it figured out before anything really happens. And everybody's doing their part. They really are. There's no one that's really putting their foot down and telling us to go kiss our ass. We just have to work everything out between that, the FWC, which is the Fish and Wildlife Commission down in Florida. And, everybody's got a voice in it, and we bring it up as a topic during the monthly meetings, and we go from there. There's not much more we could do just as a group of guides than what we are doing.
That's pretty refreshing. I mean, imagine a world without litigation.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
So
I don't even think it would be without litigation. Forget it.
Yeah.
Just here's a gun. I'll shoot you, and it's over.
Oh, I like frontier justice. Yeah. Don't get me wrong.
So the Gulf.
So do I.
Yeah, the Gulf and the Atlantic being such big places. I mean, on a as a river guide, the banks of the rivers and the riparian areas around them are pretty much define where I'm going to be doing my work. You've got such a huge open palette. How do you convince the other recreational users that a partnership is better than just a straight out restriction? Because that sounds like, we're kind of facing those things, is that, okay, you can fish here, but you can't jet ski, or you can hike here, but you can't ride a motorcycle, or you can shoot here, but you can't
suction dredge.
So how are you going to tackle such a big issue of the open ocean in terms of what you're trying to accomplish and making sure everybody else is happy with it too?
Well, it basically, this ecosystem in the Keys it's a national wildlife sanctuary. And the Everglades has started, in the Everglades National Park, has started no motor zones, period. You can drive to a certain point, but then you might as well paddle. No trolling motors, none of the bullshit. This is it. And guys do it. And after seeing things of that nature, do you really want it to come to that? It's almost like, just showing everybody what's actually happening. And, we could do it this way or we could do it the hard way. And let's not do it the hard way. Let's make everybody happy now, and we'll deal with it. And we do. Every year we get together, actually next month. Mm-hmm. We'll get together with the jet ski tours, the owners of the companies, and we have our delegates through the Guides Association that go and sit down and map out a new path. Hey, let's try it this way. Let's do this. You can't help, on the tours, you can work with them. It's the recreational people that come in for the week and aren't following, other tours, which I don't blame them. But there's certain distinctive guidelines, which is another issue, of to where you can and cannot drive them because of the sanctuary and a great white heron national refuge. Mm-hmm. So getting everybody all together, that's the tough part. If we could get the commercial people versus the recreational, hey, it's a step. It's a step in the right direction. Putting lines of demarcation out in the water is bullshit, and I agree. How do you tell people that? But, if you're going to bring your boat down, you just don't drive your boat around. You get a map and you look. Well, maybe it should be put on a map then. So we have a lot of other things we're planning on doing, but for right now, it's just a little bit of education to everyone, and including us. The jet ski tours have come up with some things, and it's like, wow, yeah, I didn't even realize that. It's not like we're holier than thou. I mean, we wish we were, but it's not going to happen.
Right.
So we try to keep everybody happy because, it's too nice of a place to ruin for everyone versus just one group. They'd get upset with us, and then all hell would break loose. And, I'm too old for that kind of shit. Sorry.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So let's talk about, switch gears a little bit. Let's talk about setting that hook on the tarpon and what it's like to get that fish up to the boat and then release it.
How about a permit?
Or a permit.
Which one? Because it's two different games.
Let's do a permit. We see a lot. I mean, there's so many videos and things on tarpon out there because they're way more romanticized. But let's hear about the permit.
Well, I'll give you the short version on setting the hook on a tarpon. Mm-hmm. Just hold on to the line. Don't jam it, jam, because it's not going in any further than it first touches.
Mm-hmm. This is a family show, so typically. After he jumps once, maybe give him one stick. But as soon as he eats, just come tight to him and hold on for dear life. I mean, because the next 30 seconds are the best part of the tarpon anyways. After they stop jumping, here, tie your rod up to a Volkswagen. Let it jump and buck a couple of times, and then, okay, great. Now you got to reel him in uphill. That's no fun.
Right.
A lot of my customers come down, and we lighten up the leaders, and all we do is jump them. As soon as they're finished jumping, break them off. Let the fish go on its migration.
Yeah.
No reason to fight a fish for an hour that's, a true breeding fish and fight them for an hour. Mm-hmm. They run the risk of predation from sharks and everything else, or just die. I've had a couple of fish in my career that have jumped and just had heart attacks. And I'm not kidding. It happens rarely, but it happens. Fish just bellies up after it's done jumping. And it's, 30 seconds into a fight, which is kind of depressing. Holy shit, I just killed something that's been here for, 500,000 years. No buenos for that.
I do a lot of that long distance releasing too.
On trout?
Yeah, on trout.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey,
you get to catch it again.
So, permit. Let's talk about permit. Let's talk about some permit.
How long is this? Okay.
How long is what?
I think he was asking.
A simple scenario would be, and this is the simplest scenario. You pull up onto a flat, get your line all stretched out, put in the basket, and fish shows up at 10 o'clock, 75 feet. Pull you into him. Okay, he's at 50 feet, make your cast. Oh, shit, strip, he just ate it. Hit him. Just set the hook. Oof, fish runs, and blistering runs. You would not believe, all of our species, it amazed me when I came down and fished on how fast these fish are. And a permit, you could gauge how big that permit is based on how long the fight is. If it takes you 25 minutes to get that fish to the boat with a 9 or a 10 weight rod, he's 25 pounds, and it's within a pound and a half, believe it or not. But the permit is one of the dirtiest bastard fish you'll ever fish for. But it is one that you will never forget. Your first one, your 12th one, your 100th one. You'll remember every single one of them. Which that's what I enjoy about fishing. I've caught enough fish, kept enough fish, killed enough fish. I don't care if I ever do it again. Just put me on the pointy end on the boat. Let me go fish the permit the rest of my life. There's no other species around. You guys, it's like steelhead. You just become addicted to it, and you stay with it for the rest of your life. But permit fishing is like hunting bull elk with a recurved bow and wooden arrows. You better make the shot count, because you're not going to get many. In a day's time. If you get 4 shots in a day's time, you had one hell of a day. If you got 2 reactions out of that 4, you had a really good day. You get 1 fish to the boat, you guys are high-fiving and drinking cocktails in the afternoon. It's a very, very celebrated fish.
Or you're sulking and drinking cheap beer by yourself in the afternoon as the alternative.
Trust me. Yeah. No, well, that happens too. No, that's why I was thinking about opening up a liquor store with a charter service.
Well, don't you have? You have a bar or restaurant there, don't you?
My girlfriend owns a restaurant. Yeah,
I could
do that.
I've heard it's not terrible.
You could say that, and you wouldn't be lying.
Yeah,
it's probably. I've always said it even before I started dating her. Her restaurant is the best in the Keys, bar none.
You can plug it.
Ted.
Say what's the name of it?
Ted's got it's the Square Grouper Bar and Grill.
There we go.
Square Grouper Bar and Grill.
Yeah.
You guys know what a Square Grouper is?
I know what a grouper is.
Okay.
Don't know what a square grouper is.
Well, I'll give you a little bit of Keys knowledge. Square Grouper is a floating bale of marijuana.
That's legal in the state of Washington.
Yeah, we can talk about that here.
So,
okay.
Well, I didn't know. I figured I'd put it out there just in case.
Well, we're in Washington State, so we're comfortable talking about that.
Okay. Well, there you have it. Ted, make you can't do 2 o'clock if it's fresh mud. The Square Grouper Bar and Grill. Mile marker 22.5, Kojo Key.
Can you get those through the canal?
An actual Square Grouper.
I've never seen one personally. I don't know who else will be listening to this, but I've never seen one personally.
Nobody listens to this show. Don't worry.
Yeah.
They're all underneath of us, Ted.
So
everywhere underneath of us, so just keep it moving.
Hey, Ted, just drop it straight down.
No, seriously, if I could video this, you'd see the bottom exploding right now.
With barracuda?
Big spoolie reds.
Oh, reds.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I'm going to South Carolina for redfish in a couple months. Excited.
That's on my
Are
bucket
you?
list.
Who are you fishing with?
Jason Shaw, he's our other pro staffer with Allen Fly Fishing.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, the guy puts up like 50, 60 plus fish days during the summer, so
he's an ass.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's killer.
Yeah, I'm excited.
It's nice when you get a species that really readily eats.
Yeah.
I wish I kind of don't. I'm glad permit don't eat like that because it wouldn't be any fun.
Mm-hmm. But if I'm going to fly across the country, in fact, saying at the beginning of the show, I have to fly into Orlando and drive up to him because Alaska Airlines wouldn't fly me to Charleston.
Yeah, via Minnesota and then Kansas.
Yeah,
probably
first world problems.
Yeah, first world problems.
So let's go back to these square groupers. Have you ever had any sort of interactions with Coast Guard or any sort of military upon finding a square grouper in the water?
I've never found, quote unquote, I have never found, wink wink, a square grouper. I wouldn't touch them. In this day and age, man, with GPS chip locators, and then you got people knocking on your door, no, I'm good, thanks. Mm-hmm. But most of the times, if you can call it in if you find them, and they still use them. If you find one, you call the Coast Guard and either stay with it or, put it on your boat. Give them your location. They'll come out and pick it up.
How big of bricks? How big of bricks are we talking about?
Like hay bales.
Hay bales.
They aren't. Yeah, they're bales.
Yeah.
They're I think anywhere from 100 to 140 pounds a piece.
Wow,
big as you, Kirk.
So
man, I could get myself a nice new boat with that.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
And these fall off drug running boats.
Right now we're back into submarines and stuff like that. So. It's kind of interesting to sit and try to figure out what the hell actually they're doing. Whose idea was, what, the hell with it? They're taking the speedboats, screw them. I'm going to make a submarine.
Yeah.
And stuff it. Just stuff it to the gills.
So did you
hear this? It's unreal.
So you said you were eating at the restaurant before you met your girlfriend? You met her there because you were a regular, probably?
I was. She actually asked me out. I'm kind of embarrassed to say that on the air, but it's the truth. I would go into a restaurant, and I know, isn't it? I tried to, her food was awesome, and I'm like, good food. So I kept going back, and it was, it was just that good every time. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to stop cooking then. The hell with it. And
we could be speaking in metaphors right here.
Yeah, I'm lost on square groupers.
Whatever. Square grouper. The long story short is a square grouper is where you should be eating when you go fish down there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, cool. Gotcha. Well, I think that kind of wraps up. Unless you guys had a couple more questions.
Let's plug his website because I went look. I just did a general Googler search for chaos theory and came up with a bunch of weird stuff.
You got to do chaos theory charters.
Yeah, that's what we want to get across.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it's chaostheorycharters.com. It's still, I've got so much shit going on with the pictures and everything else. It's not that crazy important. They want to fish, call me.
Yeah.
Seriously. I mean, you can look at it. I mean, look at my Facebook page, my personal Facebook page. Look at my charter Facebook page. I'm not technologically advanced, and neither do I want to be. I like going by word of mouth, because if you find the right guys that fish, you know, they're going to be calling their buddies. And as long as, you know, this guy's a good caster, everybody else files suit, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I didn't become a guide to become a millionaire, you know. I do it because I enjoy being out on the water.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Very good.
Sounds like you got a great thing going on down there.
Yeah, it's not bad. You know, it could be worse. It could be shoveling snow.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't mind waking up in February, putting a pair of shorts and flip flops on and going fishing.
Well, two of the three of us are wearing shorts today in the studio.
You're indoors.
Yeah.
Well,
you're indoors.
It's mild.
It's not particularly cold outside here either. Not like the Northeast.
Right. Yeah,
I mean, if it gets below 40 here this winter, that's a cold day for us.
Right. Yeah, that's
at least this year.
The coldest that we get.
Yeah.
Go to 2 o'clock.
Let them go get your fish.
Moving.
Oh.
Are we going to get it here? We're going to close the show with a fish?
I'm going to try. Let's see if he's got it. Put one hell of a backhand to it. Get it moving nice and slow.
This is exciting.
Right by it. We're fishing in chocolate milk right now. You know, we're throwing it shapes.
Yeah.
We don't even know what the hell it was.
It was a shark.
Manatee.
Yeah, maybe.
Cool. Right on, Rob. We'll let you get back to work, and I guess that's pretty much it. Thanks, Rob. We appreciate it.
Yeah, great show.
All right, guys. No problem.
Take it easy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
All right, I'll talk to you.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys. Bye.
That was authentic. He could have been making that shit up.
Nah.
I mean, yeah, he was sitting next to a fan.
Yeah.
He's probably at the square.
It's an oscillating fan, so it goes on and off.
Yeah.
You know?
You know, it's audio. We take his word for it that he was actually out on a boat.
Yeah.
Had a guy fishing. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a first. I was actually, before the show, I didn't know he was going to be on the water day, so when we called him up before we started recording, you could hear the wind, and I was like, "You're on the boat, aren't you?"
Yeah,
cool.
Sweet.
Nice. No, Rob's cool. I've met him a couple times. Last time I saw him was at the iCast show in Orlando last year, and talked to him quite a bit there and stuff. And my colleague AJ has fished with him quite a bit. So.
Shock.
And AJ's been on the show before too here in studio.
Yeah, he's been a guest. Yeah.
Well, not really a guest, more of a in studio.
Lackey.
Yeah.
We've had we haven't done that in a while.
No, we need to, because some of our best shows involved having a fourth body in the studio.
Yeah, except when we had Dave Henry, that didn't add much to the show.
No.
Canadian.
No, it's a lot of apologizing.
Mispronounced words.
Yeah.
We had the young woman who was the cook.
Oh yeah. Becky. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ian was here.
Yeah, and Ian got a job, so he can't be with us anymore. I tried to get Mingo in here a few times, but he keeps having to cancel last minute. Oh. And it'll happen again. We don't exactly live close to anything or anybody, so it's hard. Huh. Because you talk to people that live in Seattle, they think they need to get a passport to come out to Duval.
That's okay.
Yeah, that's yeah.
If you went via Canada, you might have to do that.
So it's so funny though, like talking to people at these trade shows and stuff, and apparently we really make Duval sound like it's a real shithole.
That's okay. We want to keep them away.
You've done your job then.
It's just funny.
There's so damn many people living out here now. It's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, like man, you guys really rip on your town. It must really suck. I'm like, yeah. Off the record.
When I was coming up 143rd, my microphone's about to fall out. I was coming up 143rd there, and there's the first hill,
new subdivision,
and there's that really really nice rancher that's got a nice
sprawling view. They used to run cattle down in front.
Oh, did they really?
And now there's a cookie cutter houses built in their backyard.
There's now their driveway and a rock riprap wall that's like 10 feet tall, and then a fence that goes the length of their people's property, and then homes.
Yeah.
It used to be they could look in their backyard probably.
Up until like last year.
Up until last year.
Yeah, that's all like in the last 6-8 months that popped up. Well, so yeah, Duval's shitty. Don't move here.
I've lived here a long time, and when we moved out here, there wasn't any other subdivisions.
No.
Damn it.
I mean, my house, before this last pop-up was like one of the newer houses in town, and it was built in the 80s.
Yep.
No, I guess your house is a lot newer than that. You live in one of those new fancy neighborhoods.
It was built, I think, in 95.
Oh, yeah.
Well, back when homes had a little more character.
Yeah.
When I moved out here,
our first house didn't have any character. It was 960 square feet of... No, before that.
Oh,
our
not
first
that
house.
one.
We moved in here in 1990. Our first house was 960 square feet.
Mm-hmm.
It was a peach.
Yeah, that's a small apartment.
Yeah. Yep. And we had running water move through our crawl space when it would rain. And if you kept the heat turned down, the house developed a musty smell that was a combination of dog uterus and Amazon parrot. Because the previous owners kept
dog
an Amazon...
uterus?
Yeah. Had,
He's like, no, actually, that's what it is.
they bred German short-haired pointers in the house, apparently.
And had an Amazon parrot.
So they had to keep the house like at 78 degrees to keep the bird alive. And holy smokes, the odors that would come out of that house before we stripped the carpet out of it.
If my house gets over 70, I'm opening the windows.
Yeah.
How did you know that it was uterus? I'm
because they had just whelped a litter of pups before we bought the house.
Listen to you getting all lingo.
Whelped.
You could walk into that back bedroom where the dog had her litter, and oh man, that was musky.
Bitches.
Legitimate. That's actually the dictionary term, or the dictionary definition of that word.
Yeah. So anyway,
that's why I said it.
I know.
I guess the point of all this is that every place in Duval is a shithole and smells like dog uterus and Amazon parrots.
Don't even dare try to eat food here.
And brown trouts.
No. We don't have a square grouper in Duval.
No, but they come floating down the Snoqualmie sometimes. Because that's legal here, you know.
Yes, it is.
So instead of hauling logs like it was originally meant to, now it hauls square groupers.
Yeah,
we need some. There's a need for harvesting the square groupers up here. There's a glut of groupers on the market up here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's another show.
Maybe it is.
Could be.
Well, hopefully those of you that have been downloading every show enjoy this one, and it gets you through the next hour and a half.
Tell us about it.
The previous hour and a half, actually.
Yeah,
we would like to hear if it doesn't.
Yeah, let us know. If you weren't pleased, let us know.
And
we can blame Rob, Captain Rob, for people who don't like the show. Because
I think that was riveting. I mean, to actually hear a guide, giving instruction to a person casting on the boat, to almost hear a fish caught live on the radio.
He was being pretty polite to his guest.
Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I know people that have fished with him, and he gets pretty colorful.
Good.
But it comes from a place of he really wants you to catch that fish and get your money's worth.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Like he's passionately trying to get you that fish. So
I don't know of any guy that doesn't want that to happen.
But some of the things he says and does might make you think otherwise. But that's just it's tough love. You know,
you get to that point with people. I mean, as soon as you meet somebody, whether it's at the boat launch or on the phone or the internet or wherever you meet them, it's okay. Let's figure each other out here. What do you really want to get out of this day? And then there's a little bit of liberty that takes place throughout the day. Of can I push this person a little harder? Should I stay back a little bit? Can I drop an occasional expletive and if they respond to that, then you go with it. If they don't, then you don't. But I mean, that's part of the whole experience of the day. Is sometimes clients remember that you were a little tough on them because eventually they got into the fish that they wanted, and then it all becomes just water under the bridge.
Yeah, at the end of the day, they're going to remember that fish, not your antics.
Well, sure, and admittedly, chaos theory charters sounds a lot more, enticing than flats coddling charters.
Cuddling charters.
Coddling.
But flats cuddling charger
might
attract a different clientele.
that brings up a great point. I mean, it's all in the it can be, some of it can be in the name, because there are some places out there that you hear the name and you're like, why would I want to spend my day on the boat with that person?
Yeah,
short of calling the guide service, sit down and shut the F up.
Right.
Why would you first appearances, perceptions and perspectives? Why would you want to get on the boat with that person? Mm-hmm. But I guess that's the whole unwrapping of the puzzle.
Absolutely,
it is.
Find yourself that little square grouper, and you wonder, well, who's watching me? Who's watching? Who's listening?
I don't know. Should we go? Should we go on break?
Yeah, I got to pee.
Yeah, me too. Actually, I had to go before we started the interview.
That was a fairly longish show. I mean,
Rob's got stories. Actually, Rob talked to us for damn near 45 minutes. So.
Let's pull the plug.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Right.
Well, anybody else have any things? No things.
March show, I'm thinking, what are some good ideas?
I don't know. We don't want to set people up for an expectation and then change the idea on them. Because they're going to download this show and be like, well, we're going to try and get this. And then 10 minutes later, they're going to start the next show and it's something completely different.
Yeah. We do have a few to catch up on because we had some people from up north that I wasn't able to get last fall.
We got a queue of guests that we've been going back and forth with trying to get on the show. So
either we've gone north a lot. Maybe we come south. Maybe we
went
go,
south this show.
Well, maybe we go
southeast.
Maybe we go Mexico. Maybe we go.
I like Mexico.
Hawaii.
I mean, I know some people that just came back from Christmas Island. That apparently struggled a lot over there without lighters and without internet and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we go to Australia.
Mongolia.
Oh, the time difference would be really tough getting
That would
Australia.
be a tough one. It's 5 days. It's 5 days later today over there.
Yeah. And time goes the other direction.
It
That
does.
would be just a circular fuck, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That'd be chaos.
Yeah. Okay, we're leaving.
All right. Well,
Okay, bye. Love you, bye.